Hello everyone, my name is Tricia Lynch from IOHR Human Rights TV in London. Welcome to another episode of NGO Focus, celebrating the good work of organisations and the people involved in defending human rights worldwide. We want to know more about their noble mission. We want to know what their new projects are and the people that they are fighting for. In 2014, the UK government responded to the Syrian civil war by launching the Vulnerable Persons Resettlement Scheme, enabling the resettlement of 20,000 Syrian refugees by 2020. 2 years later, the UK government also allowed local communities to welcome refugee families into their community under the Community Sponsorship Scheme. With us today is Chris Clemens, Director at Reset, a UK-based charity helping communities change the lives of many Syrian refugee families and welcome them into the heart of their community. Chris, good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us today. Chris, can you tell us how Reset is responding to the global refugee crisis that we find ourselves in and how it's helping in the resettlement of some of the most vulnerable people escaping the tragedy of war?
The government allowed community groups to take the lead in resettlement here in the UK through the Syrian programme. And essentially we want to enable communities to take that opportunity and get involved, welcoming refugees into their communities. Reset exists to let people know about how they might get involved in that, to support them, to connect them to groups if they want to make that choice, and then to train them, to help them to do it. We recognise that ordinary people can do extraordinary things through resettlement, but they don't have to be experts at the start, and we exist, I guess, to support and help them to go on that journey of welcoming a family into their community and doing a really excellent job of helping that refugee family move forward.
IOHR has been enthusiastically involved in spreading the message on community sponsorship. You help groups with the sponsorship process and also with the application process to the Home Office. Has there been an increase in people knocking on your door to get involved?
Yeah, very much so. Today we know of well over 140, 150 groups who are actually involved in going through that process. As you say, the scheme is reasonably new and more people are hearing about it and getting involved and going on that journey of becoming a sponsor.
Becoming a community sponsorship group, it isn't for the faint-hearted. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of commitment. What do you think are probably the main obstacles in the way for helping people?
Community sponsorship is a big responsibility, but it's also very possible. So you're right, there is a process to go through. You have to demonstrate you understand how to work in your community to help that refugee family, and you need to ensure that they can access the services they need. So the process of becoming a sponsor involves actually getting to know your community better. It means working with landlords, working with local services, whether that's your GP or maybe the job centre, and through that process of connecting with services, connecting the family to those services, you can learn how to best resettle that refugee family. There are challenges along the way. Securing housing that is affordable for the refugee family isn't straightforward in some of the more high-cost areas.
Is that one of the biggest challenges, would you say?
Practically, it probably is, but we've seen some really fantastic, innovative ways of bringing that will that is out there in communities to find the houses that people can use. Whether that's using kind of friends and family networks, whether if it's a faith community, the contacts they have there. Or indeed reaching out and partnering with perhaps local housing associations or others who want to get involved. What we've found is when people do reach out and into their communities and say they're trying to do this amazing thing of refugee resettlement, people respond, and that whole kind of whole of society coming together around a group, around a family, is one of the things that's just most exciting about sponsorship, and one of the reasons that I personally am really involved in it.
As you just mentioned there are many elements to having a successful community sponsorship group. What kind of training do you give to groups or organisations that want to get involved?
We want to ensure that they are connected with others that have been through the process. They understand, perhaps more the technical, the legal side, the governance kind of things, and we have resources available, best practice toolkits, people we can connect them to give them that one-to-one support. Through to the kind of more technical aspects of, how do you do right by the family? How do you empower that family to move on in their lives? How do you help them, connect with the services they need to overcome some of the issues they've faced in their lives? And we have face-to-face training. We do all around the country. I was just in Northern Ireland just the other day with some amazing community groups over there, connecting them with some expert organisations who've been doing resettlement for years to ensure they get access to the very best support and guidance. But we also find actually that groups that have been through the process have got a lot to offer, and we find that peer support is hugely valuable. So one of the things that Reset exists to do is to build those connections across all those involved in the sponsorship family, because it is a family. People really do feel like when they get involved in this, it's one of the most amazing things they do. do, and they find they want to connect with other people that have been through the same experience.
You just talked about being in Northern Ireland, and we know that you've given training to many, many communities around the UK. What would you say is the standout moment? Is there any one particular story that stands out, one family?
It'd be hard to pick just one if I'm completely honest. A great example, just near where I live in South London, there's a group there, a church-based group that got involved really early on in the programme. And you talk to them now, they're probably 18 months down the line, so they've had their family here for a long time. The experience they talk about are both incredibly powerful with the journey they've been on with that family who came knowing not a great amount of English, but now the children are happy at school. The dad is actually involved doing some volunteering and some work. The mum is an active part of the community as well. They now know their local mosque very well. They know the local synagogue well. They got to know the local restaurants. The local barbers got involved. So many kind of people have contributed to the journey of that group as they've been helping that family, that they actually think it's the most transformative thing they've done as a community, as well as helping that family. So it's an incredible journey you go on when you become a sponsor.
The current refugee resettlement scheme ends in 2020, and there's a campaign running at the moment, #ExtendTheWelcome, which is for exactly that, to extend the welcome, to keep bringing Syrian refugee families in. Is this something that Reset is involved in?
We're very aware of the campaign, and we're very supportive of calls to extend the welcome beyond 2020. We know that the Syrian programme has been a big step forward in terms of the government's response to helping refugees in this country. It was we really welcome the commitment they made to the Syrian programme, and we're really hopeful that they will go that step further as 2020 comes around to make that commitment into the next period of time. We also hope that sponsorship will be an active part of that. We've seen firsthand that when you invite sponsor groups to communities to be at the forefront of the settlement process, it's hugely beneficial for those refugee families in terms of the outcomes they achieve. And therefore we'd call on the government to be actively involved in putting sponsorship at the heart of whatever they announce with their policy going forward on resettlement.
We currently have our campaign Work Well Refugees, encouraging UK businesses to include more refugees in the workplace. If there's businesses watching today that would like to get involved, what should they do? Get
in touch with us. We'd love to talk to them, love to support them to go on this journey. We're resetuk.org, and we've currently got a number of businesses interested in taking that first step into sponsorship. And we're doing work directly to support them, to help them answer some of the questions they understandably might have, but also help them to maximise the opportunity of getting involved. And what we found and what we've seen in other parts of the world where people have got involved in sponsorship from the business community, they've used it as a fantastic opportunity to connect, whether it's their clients, whether it's their supply chain, with their mission and their social purpose. And through sponsorship, you have a very practical thing businesses can get and do, where they can help align all those things that perhaps through CSR they try to push forward. Here's a real opportunity to kind of bring together different parts of their business community around an amazing thing. And Reset want to help them do that. So we've got kind of documents and questions and answers. We've also can sit down with the key people and just answer some of the practical questions they might have about how to overcome any barriers. So what's next for Reset? We're a new organisation. We've been going for less than 12 months. We came together because we wanted to see sponsorship grow in this UK, and we still want to see it grow here in the UK, and there's plenty of growth ahead. We know that every time we go out and talk to more people in different communities, they too want to get involved in sponsorship. So we've got a lot of work ahead in helping those groups go on that journey of becoming sponsors. So this next 12 months, you'll see us roll out much more work in terms of training and support for those groups. And we're also, as you alluded to, we're working with particular groups, whether it's business communities or different groups who are coming to sponsorship for the first time and helping them take that first steps in becoming sponsors. And we want to do more of that, particularly bringing in more people from across different parts of society into sponsorship. Chris Clements, thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you for joining us for another episode of NGO Focus. Join us again next time. Goodbye.